Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Advice Stream. I'm your host, Jeremy International. We are live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. The Advice Stream is the stream where we play old video games, sometimes most of the time, but not all the time. We have guests, and then we answer advice type questions. Man, that is such a good pitch for the show. We answer advice questions either I have gathered from the internet or from you, the audience that can write in yourself. If you'd like to seek advice from us on today's show, you can go to jeremyinternational.com. I have a little graphic I can put up there. Ooh, there you go. Can you see that? You can head on over to jeremyinternational.com. And there's a contact form at the bottom you can go to and send us a question. Who am I to give advice is a question that I am often asked. So I'll do my best to answer that. I'm Jeremy International. I am just kind of hitting middle age a little bit, I think. Been around a little bit. You know, I do all kinds of stuff. I've been all kinds of places. And so I think I have a little bit of lived experience, if you will, that'll probably be able to help you out about all kinds of stuff. I also am a IT professional, so if your computer's not working right, I can do my best to help you with that as well. I know a bit about music. I know a bit about old video games. I have a little bit of background in show business. So you tell me what you need help with. I feel like I'm probably best at giving advice on like relationship stuff. And what else? And other things. So this is the show. We have our special reoccurring guest that's about to join us in just a minute. But I'll just reiterate to everyone here that this is the Advice Stream. I'm your host, Jeremy International. And if you'd like to seek advice, head on over to jeremyinternational.com. Also, this particular episode of the Advice Stream is unofficially sponsored by Haribo Gold Bears, the champagne of gummy bears. If you'd like to have a refined gummy bear experience, try out Haribo gummy bears. We'll be talking more about those later. Without further ado, if you are ready, special guest, let's bring on our special guest for the day. Our special guest is, as per usual, Oldman. Hey, Oldman, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Great. How's it going, Oldman?
It's going okay. I've got a lot of snow in my front yard and backyard.
Big same, big same.
My dog loves it.
Our young child loves it as well. I'm just gonna kind
Oh,
of increase the
really?
volume a little bit here. And it's exhausting running after a small person in the snow. Oldman, do you have any thoughts about Haribo Gold Bears, our official sponsor for the week? I'm gonna really unofficial, definitely not official. Haribo, if you want to give me some money, you let me know. Do you have any lived experience with Haribo Gold Bears? I got one right here.
Only the only ones that I remember are eating the sugar-free ones, and I'm sure you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, I heard they gave people all kinds of gastrointestinal distress.
Yes.
Here's a fun question for you, Oldman.
Mm-hmm.
The green Haribo Gold Bear. What flavor do you think that is?
Green apple and not lime, as it should be.
It's neither of those, and you're going to be shocked. And this is such an outrageous claim from the good people at Haribo, today's unofficial sponsor, that I have photo evidence to show that I am not making this up. I'm just going to bring it up right now so everyone can see at home. This is from the back of a package of Haribo Gold Bears. And look over at that green one.
What in the world?
I know. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Hey, Jugsy, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining us, Jugsy. If you are watching from home on either Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, please give us a shout out and say hi. I'd love to see and hear your names and imagine what your voices sound like. We're talking right now about how the green Haribo Gold Bears are strawberry flavor.
Right?
Believe it or not. Let me get that image down there because it's freaking me out. Horns of the Lord says, specifically the strawberry leaves because the color equals flavor. Yeah, I believe that Fred Undead has made that precise joke before about the green flavor Haribo Gold Bears. If you've ever been to German country, you'll see in the grocery store that they have lots of Haribo options. I'll bring back up the label here because we can see when we see that it says the little bear there is saying since 1922. A German company that's been in business since 1922. I don't
Ooh.
want to think about that too much.
The Nazis probably forced them to change the strawberry to green.
Yeah, maybe let's blame it on the Nazis. That's a good idea. Hey, Fred Undead. Good to see you too. Thanks for joining in on this show today.
I have to compliment Jeremy the high production value that's already been established for this specific episode.
Yeah, I have had a really intense time at work, and I've been meaning to do a lot of stuff, make some number of graphics for this, and I just decided to force myself to take a break and get some of that done today. Did you see this one? Look at this. I'm just bringing this back up again.
Yo, yeah, I did see that one.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The transition I did not see before, but the transition really makes it.
Yeah, it really does. If you're new to the show, hey, Abe 1 and 1 Concord. Am I saying that right? Abe 1 and 1 Concord. Hey, Abe 1 and 1 Concord, one person. Thanks for reaching out there, first time chatter on the stream here. If you're enjoying my my really, really cool graphics here, please give me a thumbs up and just acknowledge how great that is. Thanks for joining us, Abe 1 and 1 Concord. If you're new to the stream, just as a reminder for everybody, this is the Advice Stream. I'm your host, Jeremy International. I am joined today by my perennial, is that the right word? Special guest,
Sure.
Oldman. We're live on YouTube, we're live on Twitch, and we're live on Facebook. If you'd like to communicate with us in any way, you can contribute to the chat on any one of those services, and I will get them right away and do my best to read them out loud for the people that are watching on a different service than the one that you're commenting on. If you'd like to seek advice from me, Jeremy International, and my guest for this evening, Oldman, you can, first of all, you can just throw it in the chat if you want to, but everyone's going to see that it's from you. If you're cool with that, then beautiful and wonderful. Thank you. If you would rather keep it anonymous, you can head on over to jeremyinternational.com. There and there's a contact form you'll see at the bottom of that page. We're also live streaming through there. I don't usually mention that. There's also a way through jeremyinternational.com, as you can see on the bottom, where you can leave a tip if you'd like to. It would be greatly appreciated, although it is not necessary. Today, and in just a little bit, we will be streaming SimCity 2000. I've got it around here somewhere.
I am so stoked. I've been playing it, by the way. I've been playing it on Windows. He's playing it on PlayStation.
We're going to be playing it on the PlayStation. Did you know that SimCity 2000 was released on the PlayStation 1? I did not until I was just cruising through eBay looking at old video games, as I often do, and stumbled upon this gem. I've never played it on the PlayStation before, although I certainly played an awful lot of it. I ran it up and tested it earlier this evening, Oldman, and I will tell you the soundtrack is real good.
I want to hear it through the PlayStation's audio card, because the soundtrack in Windows slaps as well.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same or not. I'm sure there's a way to find out. I spent many an hour playing SimCity 2000 on the PC, and at least the little bit that I picked up on the soundtrack for this sounded a little different. So,
like I said, I've been playing it recently, so I can help you figure out if it is the same soundtrack.
Oldman, I greatly appreciate your expertise. Speaking of expertise, just as a reminder of my credentials, I am not a doctor. I am legally obligated to tell you that I'm not a doctor, but I do have quite a bit of lived experience. Things that I know a lot about. Ooh, that's a good game. I'm going to do that, and then you do that too, Oldman. Things that I know a lot about. I know a lot about Old video games. I know a lot about music. Specifically, my most knowledgeable genres of music, I would say, are punk rock, new wave, and disco. I know that's a little bit of a hodgepodge of genres there, but they are more connected than you might think. Let's see what else I know. Did I say old video games? I know a decent amount about 18th century Russian drama, and I watch too much TV. And that's all I'm going to get into. I know a thing or two about bourbon, and of course, I know an awful lot about high quality Haribo Cold Bear gummy bears. The champagne of gummy bears are tonight's unofficial sponsor. Okay, you're up, Oldman. What are your fields of expertise? Go. Don't think about it.
While I already did while you were explaining, but I guess my only two that come to mind is like intellectual interests. It's like philosophy of mind and
Okay.
Marxism. Those are the two things.
Wait, philosophy of mind. What was the second one you said?
Marxism.
I thought you said orgasm for a second. I mean, we all hopefully know a lot about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, it's been a while.
We acknowledge the existence of sex on the advice stream. If I haven't said that before, that's a content warning. That we may be continuing to acknowledge. Maybe we won't, the existence of human sexuality as we move forward in the stream. Should we start with a question, Old Man, or should we go right into the game? What do you think?
I think let's start with a question.
Okay. Oh, I have to finish eating my delicious, chewy Haribo Gold Bear gummy bear. What flavor is it? I can't see the color.
Wait, I'm not wearing my glasses.
It's okay. It's gone, or I swallowed it. I think it was a red one. It kind of tasted like a strawberry. It tasted like the green part on a strawberry. Okay, our first question for the evening is as follows. I'm bisexual and happily married to a man. That said, I do feel the occasional desire to sleep with another woman. So, a woman writing the question. I haven't yet, but I'm contemplating asking my husband to open up the marriage. My idea is that I would only be allowed to sleep with women. I think it might work because the biological underpinnings of male jealousy wouldn't be there in this situation when I'm not sleeping with another man. But I'm torn because he's straight, and I wouldn't really feel comfortable opening it up with other women too. I guess I'm jealous. Do you think this arrangement could work? I'm scared to bring it up, lest it ruin our relationship. I'm making a face.
I'm making a face.
By the way, if you're new to the stream, this is how it works. We discuss this as a group. So if you have thoughts, throw it into the chat, please. If you don't, then you don't need to share anything at all. But Oldman and I will discuss, and we appreciate there is about a 10 to 15 second delay. So we'll do our best to keep things up. Jugsy says differs per guy. Gotta ask or forever hold your peace. Yeah, that's definitely Jugsy. The first thing that's jumping out at me is if this is something you want to do, you asking a stranger what you think your partner, your husband, because you're married, would do in this situation seems a little off to me. Jugsy says, I didn't hear a delineation between sexual and romantic relationships either. That's also a good point. You got a spin on this, Oldman?
I think that if somebody sets the boundaries of the relationship at the outset to be an open relationship, then that might work. But I have seen too many marriages or long-term relationships that have been destroyed by the idea of that she has right here.
Yeah.
And I guess it's possible. It's something that you need to discuss first, obviously. But there's one thing in intellectually being okay with it, and there's another thing as it happens in real life.
Yeah, I agree with that also. I feel like on the surface, this appears to be a pretty straightforward, I'd like to have an open relationship, but I'm not sure how it's going to work. How should I go about bringing that with my partner? That's a pretty straightforward question. I feel like it's a thing that probably a conversation that a lot of people in long-term relationships are having these days, just because this idea of non-monogamy is becoming more and more commonplace and kind of more mainstream. There's two things about this that kind of jump out at me, though, that make me a little concerned about the whole idea for this particular set of people. One is she is writing in asking, what do I do, instead of having the conversation with her partner. And it's not one conversation. This is the sort of thing that's many conversations. But secondly, this whole thing about, here's the quote: "I think it might work because the biological underpinnings of male jealousy wouldn't be in this situation when I'm not sleeping with another man." We can all talk about like the biological underpinnings of human behavior, but that's not really how people work. I think the idea of that you're going to take this as your justification for doing this really one-sided, this lopsided arrangement where you get to sleep with other people regardless of what their gender is, and he doesn't. And that he doesn't have a right to be upset or jealous because there's no biological underpinning to that jealousy is that's a really dangerous mindset to have going into this situation. And I'd say in general, trying to find some biological or evolutionary justification for human behavior is generally a fraught thing to do. And to me, that's the biggest concern I have, is this mindset that if he doesn't want me to do this, his feelings aren't valid because he doesn't have a biological reason to be jealous is a really not helpful, and I'd say a borderline dangerous way to go about thinking of another human being's feelings. People do things for all kinds of complicated reasons, and certainly biology and evolution sometimes factors into that, but it sometimes does in weird and unexpected ways. And I think that that's a direction of thinking that she needs to get out of her mind right away if she's going to move ahead and try to have this type of conversation with her partner. I certainly have heard of, and I know of a few people who have this kind of, let's call it asymmetrical open relationship where one person gets to go out and the other person doesn't. It's a big ask to ask someone to do that. And maybe your partner's into it, maybe not. The only way to find out is to ask. And if you're worried that asking is going to ruin your whole relationship, then that's another thing you need to sort out. Yeah, that's my take.
I think that makes sense to me as well.
Yeah, it always makes me nervous when people are like, this is how biology works, so therefore your feelings about it are invalid. I always think it's funny, the people, we don't usually talk a lot about politics on the advice stream, but this isn't really a political conversation, but the people that spend a lot of time denying the facts and reality of biological evolution are the same people that think that we should have a culture and a society that follows those. We should have like an economic system or something that follows that same ideology.
Right? It's almost like they're talking out of both sides of their mouth, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So we got to be real careful when we start to talk about biology or evolution as a justification for human behavior, because we're not. That's why we're people. We're not just animals that we can think and have this conversation about our motivations. So therefore, pure biology or evolution isn't a justification for our actions. Whew. All right, you want to play some SimCity?
Yeah, let's play a game in which the industrial, commercial, and residential urges are the only urges that human beings have.
Well, this is SimCity 2000, so...
Oh, I can hear it, but I can't see it yet.
I'm going to bring it up in just a second. That was a little bit louder than I thought it would be.
Of course. That's the loudest it's going to get, though. That's the loudest.
Yeah, I forgot that my dial was turned up there. Man, I love this. This is an original. So, I haven't mentioned this before. So when we play old games on the advice stream, it's always important that I want to say, and maybe this is a little braggy, is that we're always playing original games on as close to original hardware as possible. This is an original SimCity 2000 disc for the PlayStation 1. I am playing it on an original PlayStation 1 that has been modded to take the digital videos, the analog video signal out and convert it into a digital signal so I can get it into my computer. I can't hold that up to show you, but I can show you my original PlayStation Clear analog stick controller, which is beautiful and I love it. The only thing I love more than clear plastic is glow-in-the-dark plastic. And I don't think they ever made a glow-in-the-dark PlayStation 1 controller, but if they did, I'd sure like to get one. That's weird. Is that usually open that slow? Listen to this. I'm going to turn it up a little bit so we can enjoy the music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is the smooth sounds of the Advice Stream with your host, Jeremy International.
I think this is not one that I've heard.
Okay. So I haven't played, yeah, Chugsy, the title screen. There's just something about these old games. I mean, this is why.
Oh, yeah.
I spend so much time and energy finding these things and then figuring out ways to play them on my computer to share them with everyone. Because there's nothing like this era. Just for a little historical background, so what we got the PlayStation 1, we had the Nintendo 64, that's all in the same generation, we had the Dreamcast. It's kind of around the time when all of this was popular. Year-wise for this, let's see if we can see a year. I'd imagine it was probably right around 2000. Man, listen to that breakdown. So good. I don't know what year this game was released, but it's SimCity 2000, so probably right around then.
Yeah.
Late 90s, early 2000s. So let's start a new city. Uh-oh. Well, so first, first lesson learned is the analog sticks don't work.
Oh, no. Well, I guess you don't really need them.
I guess you don't, although moving a cursor around would sure be easier with that. Oh, wait, hang on. No, still don't.
It's like a fake cursor.
Yeah, it is. Let's start a new city. Let's just get right into it.
Oh, the little digital boop boop noises. I love it. Where's reticulating splines? We need reticulating splines. Looking for reticulating splines.
There they are.
There we go.
Oldman over here, the SimCity expert. We're gonna call our city. Whatever, new city. I was gonna write out Advice City, but that's more work than I feel like doing right now.
New City A.
I like to start on easy. We're doing this.
What year do we want to start it?
Let's start 1900. Why not?
All right.
The reason, if I was playing the game, I usually default to medium mode on most games, but I'm playing this not for a personal challenge, but for entertainment purposes. So I'm going to start on easy. Yeah, this looks an awful lot like SimCity 2000 on the PC. Crowd celebrates new City A's founding. Cool. So first thing we should do is pause. Where is the pause? There. Okay, so, I can't imagine there's many people out there that don't know about SimCity, but the whole point of SimCity is you have to manage residential areas, commercial areas, and industrial areas. You need, in this version of SimCity, you need to provide power and water. Last time we played SimCity on the Super Nintendo, which I also loved very much, there was no water was necessary in that. It was just the only thing that was necessary was providing power. And as I'd imagine, because we started in 1900 or whatever, that we'll be a little limited in what our power options are. But as time goes by, like we might just have coal or whatever. As time goes by, we'll probably have like nuclear or whatever. So let's see what we can figure out here. Can I... Man, I really wish those analog sticks worked.
I was gonna say the fake cursor turned into a real one.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is the same problem we had on the Super Nintendo SimCity. Is how do I move around the map? It just moved a little bit.
Yeah, it did. You put it up against the edge, I guess. And now you're moving north. And now you're moving... Yeah.
No, I'm not moving at all.
Well, you gotta wait for it to load, apparently. Maybe it's if you push it up against the side.
I'm holding triangle down.
Now you just zoomed out.
I did zoom out. Does it really just take a minute to load? I don't want to play like that. If I hit triangle again, will it let me zoom in? Oh, yes.
Yes, apparently.
Oh my god, what did I do? We did a little bit of... We struggled with a little bit of this last time as well. Is figuring out... Wait, what's this? What's this? What does this do?
Okay, that is some ancient UI.
Yeah. So that can zoom us out and zoom us in.
Yeah.
But how do I go up? I'm assuming there's got to be some key combination I can do. Oh, that's the edge.
All right. Research assistant here to save you.
Thank you, old man. Thank you, old man. This music is still really speaking to me, though. Let's try to zoom in around the water.
If our audience can get it before me, though, they get a gold star.
If anyone understands how this game works, please let us know. So let's zoom back in. And then how do I, like, move around? What are the buttons? What are the buttons? Button, who's got the button? I also have...
Okay.
Okay, you
got it.
Okay.
A.
What do we do?
A is place current tile on the map. B.
This is a PlayStation. There's no letters. It's triangle, circle, square, and X.
Okay.
While we're waiting here...
Press select and see what happens. Press select and see what happens.
That's...
Okay, that gives you the options menu.
Uh-huh. Oh, controller configuration? Is that going to be helpful?
The R trigger or the R bumper should pull up the zoom menu.
So that zooms us in and out. I see that. That's good. Thank you. That's helpful.
Mm-hmm. This is another game where people have not put a lot of guides up about it.
Not surprised by that. While we're figuring out how this game works, everyone, I can see that we've lost a couple people watching. I'm shocked. This is the Advice Stream. I'm your host, Jeremy International. I am joined today by my special guest, Oldman. We are playing SimCity 2000 on the PlayStation and don't know what we're doing. So we're kind of struggling figuring that out right now. I'm sure this is a riveting watch for those of you at home. It's always tricky to find the types of games that we want to play on the Advice Stream just because... Oh, what happened? Did I figure out something? No, I did not figure out anything. All right, well,
Strangely enough, the first one that comes up when you search for the PlayStation version is the N64 version, which was never released.
Weird.
They have like the file, I guess, but
well, the good news is, everyone, that I always try to buy complete in box games, so I've got the manual right here. So does everyone want to sit at home and watch me read a manual?
You could. I also just pasted the controls into the chat.
Scroll, zoom, and rotate. Oh, thank you. Use the scroll through different tools. Thank you for doing that. Use to scroll through different tools, tool options, and menu items when building a city. D-pad, select, action, X button, cancel. What? L2 and R2 button and select button. I get how you zoom. So the what?
You rotate the camera with the bumpers. You zoom in and out with the triggers. And the shape buttons are as listed here, I guess.
But how do you move the map?
I think you're just gonna have to wait for it to load. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah,
let's read it. Let's actually read it here. Let's read.
Yeah, I got the guide right here. Oh boy, I promise everyone, the show's gonna get started in just a minute. It's gonna be super fun.
Honestly, Jeremy, this has become a feature of the show.
That's true.
It's trying to figure out how it works and the ancient controls.
I found the section in the guide. Your entire city is too big to see on the screen all at once. To see all, you can use the directional buttons to scroll the terrain after you select any tool button. You can also put the cursor over normal map terrain, hold down the choose button, and use any of the directional buttons to scroll okay, so the choose button. I have to set what the choose button is. Let's hit select.
Controller config.
Here's the other problem is I don't ever play the PlayStation. The button to select, I'm assuming, is circle, right?
Oh, it's or X. It depends on whether it came from Japan or not.
It did not. So choose is X. Okay. So if we cancel out of this, then we should be able to hold down X. There we go. That's what I was doing. Okay, why don't we start along the little river here?
No, you got to make a connection to your neighbor first.
I do?
It's helpful. You don't have to, I don't think, but it's helpful.
Well, you should also always build a polluting power plant right on the edge of the map.
I have some advice about that.
What's your advice about that?
Well, this was the story I was trying to get out on our other stream about SimCity 2000, and my story is I am really bad at it, and I've never really, it's very difficult to make a successful city. But a couple weeks ago, I was streaming this privately in our little Discord, wink wink, and I just tried to make the worst city I possibly could, and it succeeded wildly beyond what I thought it was going to. It's better than me trying almost.
Okay, well, let's see what happens. I'm gonna build. I wish that it was flatter. This is hard to build with all these mountains around. Let's do a little.
Just do it around the lake first, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a little deal here. So let's build a little bit of a road. Okay, I'm getting the hang of it.
There we go.
And then we will... How do I get all the things back?
Probably O. Yeah.
And then we will build... It's definitely a long delay. It's real sluggish.
This is a game where the best version was released for Windows, and you can find it on Internet Archive at this point because nobody
Yeah.
cares about the copyright, I guess.
Jugsy says, I think the construction sounds is the exact same one used
It
in
is.
Sim Tower.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes it is. Good point, Jugsy. I love Sim Tower as well, I'm sorry.
I bet this is where we build. So let's get some residential, but we'll do low density.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, low density is what you want to start with. Also, I must shout out Amir, who said he wasn't going to be able to make it tonight, but he's making it.
Hey, Amir, thanks for joining us. We are really struggling with SimCity 2000 on the PlayStation right now. This is just not a good format for this game.
It isn't, but it was a very popular game at the time.
Yeah, it's really hard because the analog sticks aren't factored into this. It's just really hard to control.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll do some commercial.
I do have to say, I really like the way that they ported the UI. It's beautiful. It's probably not very functional, but it looks great.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, here's the other thing though, is like we know that the graphics capabilities of the PlayStation 1 are better than this too. So it's kind of a weird choice. I'm sure that they had a really hard time making it work. Amir says, aren't you supposed to start with a power plant? I'm sure.
You can do whatever if you're in pause, although I'm not sure Jeremy's not in pause anymore.
I'm not, because I don't think you can do anything. I couldn't get the cursor to work when I was paused. Let's get some power.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think. Maybe. In 1900, people would go without power.
That is true.
I really hope you don't have to like select power lines from this menu every single time.
I'm a little worried that I will. So let's do the power over here. I mean, for my first map on this, because the controls are so iffy.
Yeah.
I wish that I had a flatter.
Oh,
a flatter deal.
There you go. You already built it. You already built it.
Yeah.
And I can't see it because you put the
wait. Do I
the
have
view
overlay?
where you only?
Yeah.
Yes, you do. And it's not. It's a different menu than the one you think it is.
Yeah.
There you go.
But okay, I'm getting the hang of where the controls are now. So let's build a little road. Oh my god. Yeah.
I will say that my recommendation would have been to put the coal power plant right next to the kindergarten because that's what people in 1900 liked.
That's true. They would have been like the soot is good for their lungs. It'll make them strong.
Exactly. Yeah, and they have to work there during the day anyway, so it's an easier commute.
And then we'll do let's not get fancy. We'll just do a little right turn here, right angle deal.
Can I read one of our comments? I don't know if I've done that before.
Oh yeah, please.
Very often. Amir says, the music is so different from the other SimCity games, which is always super jazzy. And he's right about that.
I like this music, but I definitely, SimCity is jazz.
Mm-hmm.
It's jazz all the way. That's beautiful. I have no regrets. I have no notes about what I just did. And then we gotta run some power.
I cannot be. Well, at least they've given you like an easy shortcut to get the power lines. Easy. Comparatively.
Yeah, this is really the fact that it doesn't support the analog sticks is really bumming me
Right.
out.
The worst part about this, I guess, is that they gave you a real cursor. If they'd given you like a square by square cursor, it would have been so much easier.
Yeah. It's just real, like, iffy to get it. Like, getting that lined up right there.
Right?
Is real.
You could always zoom in a little bit, I guess. But that's not going to make it a lot easier. It's just a little, maybe.
I think I gotta get one more in there.
Oh
I don't
my
love
gosh.
this. I gotta say, I don't love this.
No. I'm going to get Jeremy onto a Windows thing if we ever want to play this again.
I absolutely have a way to, it's still not, the power's not transmitting.
What the heck is going on here?
What am I doing? Does
the
power plant need water to run?
Oh, you know what? I think you're not actually... Well, no, it should have power even if you're not connected to a square. Because you're, like, right next to them.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
No, it shouldn't need water.
I need power. I mean, water. Let's try to get water.
Try it out. Let's see what happens.
And then after this, I gotta take a break because this is not fun. This is not.
Naturally, our show has breaks within it where we can answer questions.
Yes, I agree. We definitely need one of those because this is hard. This is not a positive experience.
I wonder what the N64 version looks like.
You know, I mean, however much we can talk about how kind of brutal this interface is on the PlayStation, the 64 would have had such a hard time doing something like this.
Yes, I agree. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they actually made a new game that is 3D. And like I said, it wasn't ever released. So this is just a beta ROM or whatever that people have, I guess.
Yeah.
It looks like the water's not flowing, which makes me think that maybe you're paused in the speed setting, even though you can also separately pause this console-wise. I'm not sure.
Also, I can't see the pipes under the streets.
Well, that's normal. This game had problems. That's why I've played so much more SimCity 3000 than SimCity 2000. SimCity 3000 was the best version of this game that was made. SimCity 4 is not... I hate the fact that you have like neighboring cities, and then if you zoom out, it's like a square, and then there's nothing outside of the city in whatever region there is. That just looks awful. It looks awful.
Yeah. Okay, how do I get back to where I can see stuff?
Click on like the trees tab or like the arboreal one if you have one. It doesn't look like...
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Well, the power's working now.
There you go.
Okay. I gotta step away from this. This is rough. Whew, that's not fun. Jugsy started playing Medieval Dynasty. That sounds like a good game. I haven't played that before. I've gone back to probably one of my favorite like computer non-console video games of all time recently. It's a game called Banished. Did we play Banished?
We did play Banished. That was like last time, dude. That was last time.
No, last time we did SimCity on the Super Nintendo.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so it was the time before that.
I've gotten really hardcore into Banished. That game's so deep and complicated and fun. I've committed to, if you're... Amir says I got Banished on my wish list, waiting for it to go on sale. It's such a good game. if you're unfamiliar, you start off just in the woods with a couple of people in like a barn, and you have to build. There's no like technology tree or anything. It's just building housing and making sure people have food and clothes and tools and the stuff they need to live. And that's about it. Seasons come and seasons go, and you have to make sure you have enough food when the winter time comes along. And it's super intense. There's some resources like medicine and like the type of food you can gather, like berries and mushrooms and stuff that only grow in like old growth forests. So if you cut down a bunch of trees, it takes a really long time for them to grow back enough that you can get those types of resources out of it. So you have to be really mindful about how you treat the environment that you're living in. But then every once in a while, a group of refugees comes by, and you can decide if you want to admit them into your community or if you want to kick them out. And I'm committed to accepting every group of not talking about politics, but I've committed to accepting every group of refugees. They're called nomads that show up and ask for help. And the way that the game starts is the first group comes by maybe is like 8 or 9 people, but then the second group is maybe like 25. And so the number of people that show up keep going up and up. And now I'm at a point where like a group of nomads show up and it's like 250 people. And that's so much more food and clothing and housing than I ever have at the time that they show up. So then it becomes this really big challenge of like preparing for that to happen or finding ways to negotiate when it does. And but I feel like I'm going to keep playing this particular instance until the number of nomads becomes so great that when I do accept them, I just won't be able to accommodate. I haven't gotten there yet because I'm pretty good at the game. I've been playing for years and years and years.
May I make an announcement that I did not drop on you before, and I'm very sorry. I know you're going to drop something on me at some point.
Oh yeah, episode. I know. I have a big announcement to make for this show, but you go first, Altman. What is it?
I'm going to make my own show.
Hey, that's exciting.
And it'll be political. It'll be political.
Okay, can I come on and be political on that show?
Oh my gosh. You should be my sidekick.
The not political show and the political show.
I think that's nice. That's a nice idea, isn't it?
That's exciting. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, next week, I think after our show on Tuesday, I might do my own.
Okay. Very, very exciting. We're gonna are you gonna do games? What's the thrust of the show?
No. I'm copying the format that you came up with your brilliance, and then I'm going to promote it alongside, or on different days, I suppose.
Sure, that's exciting. Well, if you need any expertise about how to get PlayStation 1 connected to your MacBook, let me know.
That's a very kind offer. I don't have one. Maybe I will at some point.
Okay, let's roll back a little bit and let's do some housekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Advice Stream. I'm your host, Jeremy International. I am joined today by my regular guest and contributor, Oldman. The Advice Stream is the stream where we play old video games of various sorts and answer advice-style questions that you, the audience, write in. Or if not that, then I've stolen from other places on the internet. If you'd like to seek advice from us on today's show, you can head on over to jeremyinternational.com. I love that graphic. And there's a contact form at the bottom that you can use to submit a question. You can also just throw it into the chat if you want to. Any comment that goes through on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook comes right into my home office here. And I can speak to those. Of course, those won't be anonymous. And the questions that you send through the website are... Our show for this evening is unofficially sponsored by, I'm sorry to cover you up here for just a second, Oldman, by Haribo Gold Bears Champagne Gummy Bears, established in 1922. I'm a big fan of these. I've been snacking in them all through the night. If you'd like to elevate your gummy bear experience, I'd recommend Haribo Gold Bears, unofficially our sponsor. If anyone from Haribo is watching out there and like to pay me to make you the official sponsor, I would love to do that. You know, Oldman, one of the I don't like to do a lot of promotion here. That's not true. But one of the uh, reasons I enjoy Haribo Gold Bears so much is because they're every time you purchase a bag of Haribo Gold Bears, part of the money that you spend on that goes to a cause that's very near and dear to my heart. That cause, of course, is the manufacturing of more Haribo Gold Bears.
Love
Please
it.
go out there and buy yourself some Haribo Gold Bears. Jugsy
Jeremy's
says,
gonna have so much time tonight on the porcelain goddess. He's not even.
these are not
He's
the
not
sugar
considering it
ones.
at this moment.
These are
It
all
doesn't
sugar
like.
all the way.
I will agree that the sugar-free ones are worse, but I also will say it might give you some trouble.
Nah, these never give me trouble. I'm not eating that many
Really?
of them. But no, not at all.
Okay.
My stomach works weird. Jugsy says the only time I get Haribo Gold Bears is with orders from a Czech 3D printer company. There's a few American things I want though. I might hassle a bean to do me a shipment one day. Oh, Jugsy, what kind of products from the U.S. of A. do you crave? I'd be curious to see.
Mm-hmm. We could send you a care package.
Yeah, we could send you a care package. I don't know why I said that with an accent. While we're waiting for Jugsy's response, I'm going to go ahead and load up our next question here.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, this is a long one. Okay. This question, I think, this is not one that came from an audience member, full disclosure. It's long and it's pretty unhinged, and I'd like to read it if you'll bear with me to sit through this entire long question. We'll get to Jugsy's response in just a minute. Oh wait, here Jugsy goes. Silly cereal that is actually candy, a variety of hot sauces, and some aquarium antibiotics. It is said Bean is willing to bend the law. Lol. We definitely have lots of weird breakfast cereal marketed towards children here that is essentially candy. One of the things that makes the United States such a great country, though, is our variety of hot sauces. I agree. We have a hot sauce for every day of the week. I don't know. There's probably 1,000 hot sauces for every day of the week. I always think it's interesting. My partner is from Italy, and for the longest time, she'd always make jokes about how much American breakfast is just dessert. And then, I've gone to visit with her on a number of occasions, and they just have like a croissant full of Nutella for breakfast, and that is also
exactly.
It's an elegant dessert.
More European hypocrisy. Yeah, oh my gosh.
I think lots of people are having dessert for breakfast. Of course, the croissant is like this, as opposed to you can get cream cheese stuffed French toast from IHOP that's as big as your head, and some people I guess eat it all. It's the portions that get you. But there's lots of people having breakfast for dessert all over the world every day. Fred Undead says, I don't make fun of USA breakfast being dessert. I feel like I heard you do that once or twice. Maybe not. It's the mega meals. That's true. It's the portions. That's the biggest problem I think we have.
More European gaslighting from her. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
As far as dietary situations go, that's the big struggle we have in America is portion size. Jugsy says,
Freddie, I'm sorry.
Jugsy says, I was served chocolate sprinkles on rye bread in Norway once. A little confusing. I also once ate IHOP hungover, and it was a struggle to find savory. Oh man, I've never had chocolate sprinkles on rye bread in Norway before. That sounds good. That sounds like a good way to start your day, depending on what kind of chocolate it is. Yeah, IHOP is a whole. I haven't been to IHOP in years. IHOP is a whole experience, and
oh my gosh, yeah,
I love
awful.
IHOP very much.
Not what you want to get though. Bob and Edith's Diner, right in Arlington, open 24 hours. That is the real American diner.
Yeah, of course. But IHOP is all over. It's all over America.
Yeah.
The best part about IHOP is when you get the pancakes and they put that little ball of butter on it and the butter melts and makes like a crater into the pancakes. You know, that crater's the best
That
part.
is nice.
Okay, here is a question. It's on the long side, but bear with me while I get through it, and I think that we'll all learn something. Here we go. For about 4 years, my husband and I have been good friends with a younger man named K. There's quotations around K, whom we met through a board game group. We're in our mid-40s. He just celebrated his 27th birthday. We both love Kay's intelligence and quirky sense of humor and have often had him over for dinner and games outside of the main group. Anyone see where this is going? Which meets in a local shop. Kay grew up in a very repressive evangelical family and has never had sex or a girlfriend. Over the years, he's alternately expressed a sort of wistful envy of our long-term relationship along with self-denigrating hopelessness about his own situation. He's sure that he's attracted to women and not asexual, just painfully shy and insecure about his interest in his appearance. He's almost 7 feet tall, very thin, and wears glasses which magnify his eyes. He looks a lot like a young Stephen Merchant, if you know Stephen Merchant. We tried setting Kay up with a couple of our younger female friends, i.e. introducing him to them over games and helping to draw him out in conversation. He did go on a couple of dates, and with one of them, but says that when she kissed him in his car, he froze up and had no idea what to do, and that was the end of that. A couple of weeks ago, over a board game with all three of us, Kay confessed that he's had a crush on me for some time, and that we shouldn't worry, he'll get over it, and said that he didn't want anything to become awkward. Afterwards, this led to a multi-part conversation between my husband and me that started as a bit of a joke. What if I were to take Kay away for a long weekend and slowly and with care for his well-being introduce him to intimacy? My husband thinks it would do worlds for his confidence and self-esteem, and I've always had a bit of a thing for geeky guys. I actually think Kay is adorable, but I worry that if we were to go through with this, it would intensify his crush and contribute to the exact awkwardness he's afraid of. I guess I'm asking, is this a terrible idea? Aside from the 19-year age gap and slight experience difference, I've only had 3 partners myself in my entire life. I don't really see a power imbalance. We're friends, and I do like the idea of giving him the opportunity to explore slowly over a few days with someone he knows well and is comfortable with. I'm not at all worried about a one-off affecting my own marriage. My husband and I communicate well and have discussed having other partners, although we've never acted on it to date. Of course, if we asked Kay and he said no, that would be the end of it. But we'd only go as far as he was into. But are we bonkers to even consider making the offer? The last thing we want is to hurt Kay's feelings. We got some comments here. Amir says, man, that's not going to end well. Fred Undead says, yeah, it's terrible. Jugsy says, half your age plus 7. It's schoolyard heresy, but it's fairly true. Fred Undead says, do not. Jugsy says, I miss the ages and only heard age gap that were, the letter writers in their mid-40s, and this young man, K, is 27.
Okay. Let me say something because I need to say this. It feels like I need to say this. That equation does not apply to gay men.
What equation?
The half your age plus 7.
Okay. If you say so. I don't know about that.
I mean, I've known my fair share of gay men, and it's different in that community than it is in the straight community.
Well, the people writing this letter are straight. And
I missed that part.
Yeah. No, it's a woman is a letter writer.
It's a woman. Oh my gosh. I thought it was a man the whole time that you were describing that. I missed both of those aspects.
Yeah. I think everyone is kind of in agreement that this is a bad idea.
That changes the situation enormously.
I think it is too. for a lot of reasons. The main one being this. I don't know any of these people, and once again, this did not come from an audience member, so I don't really have the ability to communicate or ask for additional information. I just think this reads as so thoroughly a bad idea.
Yes.
In that I don't think that this guy, this 27-year-old guy, is emotionally, it is incredibly unlikely that he's emotionally up for going through this thing, and it is also incredibly unlikely that he knows that he's not emotionally up for doing it.
Yes.
I think that those are the things is I agree, you don't work together, no one's anybody's boss. It's a woman and a man. The man is the younger one, so the power dynamic is a little different here, but the power dynamic as far as emotional experience and emotional intelligence goes is quite a bit. And I think that it is fraught to propose this, because I might be difficult for him to say no if he's got a big crush on the letter writer, but it's also I think unlikely that he's going to have a good grasp of how he can handle this. He has zero experience, and I'd imagine not a significant amount of emotional, let's call it emotional sophistication, to be able to navigate something like this. I'd say don't do it. This isn't your job to get him to figure out how to have sex. That has to flow naturally from his life experience.
Absolutely not. Having a second to think about that huge difference between if this was two married gay men versus if this was a married man and a married woman. The one part that I did think about while you were asking the question that still stands is the husband seems to have given some suggestions about this.
Yeah.
And that makes me think, I'm not saying that it's a good idea, because it's probably not. But if the husband is the one who was giving you those suggestions, at some level, he must be either okay with it. We don't really have a lot of other context.
Yeah, and it's tricky because this letter's long, and they talk about a lot of things. It does seem like the married couple here have discussed previously about opening their marriage. Mm-hmm. They both seem to be on board for it, although they've never actually acted on it before. So I think this kind of extra marital situation is probably fine from the husband's perspective. Certainly seems fine from the wife's perspective, because she's writing the
based letter. On what we know. Based on what we know from the letter, it seems like it's not just like he's okay with it in concept, but he has talked about like the actuality of it at some point.
Yeah. And I don't know, this idea of having this one like really, really staged experience over a weekend is somehow gonna like fix him or get him to feel more confident in himself isn't likely to be the outcome from this.
It almost feels like the letter writer wants to be some kind of savior to this person.
Yeah. Amir says, sometimes when you try to help other people, you can end up taking over their problems, and that can lead to you hurting the other person, even if you had good intention.
Exactly.
I think this is a bad idea. I think, continuing to introduce him to similarly aged people that, maybe if you know anyone that is also similarly inexperienced, might be helpful.
Right? Try to match him up with people based on some kind of actual common interest instead of just who they are as a gender presenting person.
Fred Undead says that this is predatory, and maybe it is. I can say Fred Undead and I oftentimes have different takes on these things. I think it is at best case interpretation of this is just a well-intentioned but poorly thought through attempt to help a friend. But I can't see this not being a really negative outcome for him. And that's really the person that you seem to care about, letter writer. So I say don't do it. Don't mention you thought about it. Just move on and continue to support this guy in the way that he feels comfortable growing on his own. Or conversely, if you do really want to bang this dude and your husband's cool with you stepping out of your marriage to do that, to open up your marriage, then just say, hey, I want to bang this dude. Do you want to go bang? And then bang. And then that's a different situation altogether.
Yes.
But like doing this, like phrasing this as I want to help him grow into a more sophisticated person, that's not a good motivation for doing this.
It gives such savior complex vibes. And as a person who has a savior complex, I know exactly how that feels.
Yeah.
And it's not the right impulse.
Okay, old man. So, go ahead.
Well, all I was going to say is that maybe she should take a little while to play SimCity 2000 on the latest hardware, which would be Windows. And just relax and think about it for a little while.
Yeah, because playing SimCity 2000 on the original PlayStation is a rough trip. We're going to get back to it. We're going to goof around on it a little bit more. But before we do, I also have a big announcement to make, Oldman. So
please tell me.
Longtime viewers of the show may or may not be aware that every year, for quite a while now, I've developed a catchphrase for myself that kind of describes the vibe, the milieu, if you will, that I'm going to tackle the year with. I normally decide on this and announce it like in December, so I got some time to get into it. But man, this has been a rough few months. And so I was a little late in the development of my catchphrase for 2024, but I have it. I've landed on it. I'm prepared to share it with all of you. Catchphrase for 2023, by the way, was "That's showbiz, baby." I use that quite a bit on this stream as well as in IRL. And so we're retiring that showbiz, baby, and embracing for the new year, 2024, this new catchphrase, which is, and I'm going to say it, but then you're going to need to help me, Oldman, like demonstrate a real world usage of it, and it'll make a little more sense when I do that. But my catchphrase, and I got a little graphic for it, my catchphrase for 2024 is... You look great.
You have a graphic. You look great, though. So I just did it. I just highlighted my smile.
So Oldman, let's demonstrate this to the audience. So if you wouldn't mind, tell me some news that's not good. It doesn't have to be real. It doesn't have to be personal. Just give me like a news fact, a current event, or something that's not great news. Shoot.
Not great news.
Yeah.
I can think of legal stories. I can think of political stories.
Sure. Just tell me about. I know we don't do politics. We don't spend a lot of time talking about things that don't make us happy on this show. But just temporarily, tell me about the caucus, the Iowa caucus. Tell me who won that. Tell me about it.
Donald Trump won the Iowa caucus, and then several days later, Ron DeSantis stepped out of the field.
I know, man. God, that's terrifying news. It's such a bummer. I don't know what we're going to do. He's probably going to win president again. But, you look good, though.
Oh, I see how you're going to use it. But I think that is, I think that's a really good use of it in general. And I think everyone who you say it to will understand why you're using it.
Yeah, Horns of the Lord's got it right. Oh, a family member died. Yeah, you look good, though.
Maybe think about the application width and span.
And I'm sorry, I've been saying it wrong. It's you look great, though. I'm sorry. I wrote
you look great. Yeah.
You look great is the way to go. I just said good.
Yeah.
That's why it didn't feel
No.
right when
I do look great. I do look great.
And I know.
I know I do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, man, my dog just got run over by a train. Oh, that's terrible. You look great, though.
I almost ran over my dog earlier.
Oh, I didn't mean to hit too close to home on that. That's terrifying.
No. I just want to say that because he got outside of the yard and it was bad, but it's okay.
So feel free to use that on your own as well, as long as you give me proper attribution for it. But that's the Jeremy International 2024 catchphrase. You're hearing it here first for the first time. is you look great though. I
Registered with the Copyright Office.
I probably should do that.
I'll do it for you.
Thank you. 2023 was That Showbiz Baby. 2022 was Girls Gotta Eat. I said that a lot in 2022. What was 2021?
This is the same spiel he gives every time. He can't remember them. He doesn't.
I know. I can't remember. I know. I should have a longer list.
I love you, Jeremy. You're great.
Thanks. Well, I'm glad everybody is as excited as I am about my 2024 catchphrase. All right, let's get back into SimCity for just a little bit. This is not a good time, I should say, and we won't be playing this next week. We'll figure out something else. But let's goof around on this a little bit. I really want to see if I can get that residential and commercial area I built to develop in some way.
I was actually going to say you're not doing as bad as you seem to be making it out to be, because you've already set down like the basics for a city. You've put the pipes in, you've put the power lines in. This is a lot further than you've gotten some games.
That's true. Let's see. I think maybe if I can get the man, this music is good.
I don't think it's on the screen, my man. I can't see it.
Oh, it's not. I'm sorry. I didn't put it back. Here we go. Thank you. I'm really digging the tunes though. And
those tropical pipes.
The thing that bums me out the most is that the analog sticks aren't supported. That just seems like such a weird plan.
Mm-hmm. I agree. There we go. No, so it's still telling you don't have
I wonder why.
It's so weird.
Do I need to give it a minute? It's definitely... Oh, there it goes.
Wait. Yeah, there we go. Like, you have to wait to see if the non-power is going to click again.
Yeah.
Or show up.
So I bet this is the underground. So water's still not going through.
What is going on? I have the same problem even in the Windows 95 best version of this game. Oh, it started going through. It just needs a while. It just needs a little while.
Can I speed up the time?
Yes, I'm sure you can. Let's see.
How do we do that? What's this? No. Oh, also, I bet we can do this. Because I don't like this.
No. That thing keeps interrupting things. Close the window.
No.
That does not close the window.
Worth a shot. How do we do time? I got super high residential and commercial, so it should be developing if it's got water. And do I have to make a road out of the city, out of the map?
You have not put in any industrial yet.
Yeah, there's no demand for industrial yet. You can see on the bottom right corner.
No. That's maximum demand for industrial.
Are you sure?
All the yellow, it's telling you. The one on the left is you don't need more of this, and the one on the right is you need more of this. Anyway, if you press start, you can change the speed settings.
Okay. Now, do they have water?
I do love those tropical flutes.
Yeah, I like a good jazz flute.
but it is much more sparse than some of the other tracks.
Yeah, I agree. Mira says, what's the consensus on SimCity for SNES? That's the only one I ever played. So we played that last week, Amir, and it's also a tricky hang to get into that.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it much more than this. Just moving
At least
around
it's
the map was better.
I feel like the controls were better.
Yeah, the controls on this are just real. It's because it's SimCity for the Super Nintendo is 2-dimensional. And it was just moving around, like getting this cursor, getting the street in the right spot is so fidgety.
What is going on?
Like, what did I even just do?
It's stuck in one place for no reason.
Can I not? It's because there's a power line there.
But you should be able to build it under those.
Well, you'd think. This kind of almost sounds like it could be like early B-52s, this song.
Yeah, the bass line. I wish I could hear it a little bit stronger because the bass line sounds kind of great too, actually.
Here, I'm going to turn it up for a little bit so we can all check it out.
There we go.
Sure, Road, whatever you want. I don't know what's happening. Nothing's happening. Nothing's working. Let me build some more industrial just to see.
This is why I said you might want to build a connection to your neighbor.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what I need to be doing. So
are they coming on in horse-drawn carriage to your city in 1900?
Like walking.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so confused. What button does what now? Okay, so that's rotating. This is zooming out.
Jeremy, I'll be back in like 1 minute.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I hear the
try
dog
to build
scurrying
a
upstairs.
highway. Take your time. I can't build a highway yet. I think I made a mistake, everybody, that I'm too far from the edge of the map. Because building a road that's going to connect me to the edge is going to be a little expensive. Let's try it, though. Let's try it and see what happens.
I'm back. He was being a good boy.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Jerome. How did they know that's my name? Not really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now the
It's so slow. It's so slow.
It's so slow, and I didn't connect this the right way. Oh my god, these controls are a nightmare. Let's rotate again.
I wish it was like the theme park, where like if people were driving, they'd just go whoop
Just
up
die.
off. Yeah.
Okay, so what if we do a little bit of a road? This is a disaster. What if we do a little bit of a road like this? And then a little bit of a road like this. There we go. Okay, now we're connected to the outside world, I think. Let's follow the road and let's follow the road and make sure. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, we're connected. We did it. So will that help? I wonder if they show cars like on the road.
They do, by little blue objects.
Okay. Oh boy, let's take a little break here. Yeah, this game's is no fun. What time is it? It's 10:21. Let's do another question.
Yes. You might as well just let it run in the background with the music a little bit lower, though, just to see what happens.
That's a good idea. Let's do that. See if literally anything happens. Okay, this is another one. Once again, everyone, if anyone out there is seeking advice from us on the show tonight, head on over to jeremyinternational.com and we can read your questions on the internet and discuss together. We read them anonymously. Okay, here is question number 3. I come from a fairly devout but not particularly conservative Catholic family. My fiance was raised as a Reformed Jew. As a couple, we've been attending Sunday services in a non-denominational Christian setting. I attend Mass a few times a year with my parents, and my fiance has not been to temple in over a year. Recently, conversation among the parents has swung toward how we will raise our theoretical children. We presented our plan, which we worked out years ago, knowing it could be a question. Our children will be raised to know their Jewish heritage and history, but the actual religious upbringing will focus on more of a non-denominational Christian teaching. The response from the parents was less than ideal. My mother, a devout Catholic, seemed to think our kids would be strictly Catholic. Meanwhile, his parents say that raising their Jewish grandchild as Christian would be a betrayal to the bloodline. That's their quote. My father expressed concern that raising a child in two religions could be confusing for a kid. Personally, I find the all-around reactions to be melodramatic, and in the same case of my future in-laws, a bit offensive. Still, I have to wonder about my father's point, as are we setting our theoretical kids up for failure and confusion in their spiritual identities?
This is a Jeremy question.
I'm just going back to read this first part. I mean, so it says, as a couple, we've been attending Sunday services in a non-denominational Christian setting. I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure I understand what non-denominational Christian means.
Messianic Judaism.
I don't think that's what that means.
No, I'm kidding.
Man, that's a tough question. I mean, this seems to me pretty straightforward. Both of the parents have this religious or spiritual life within this non-denominational Christian setting, whatever that means. And so if that's where the two of them find the answers to the spiritual questions their life has, then that's where they should raise their children. If that's where they are, then that's where their children should be too. That seems really straightforward to me. If you have a religious place that feels like you connect to it, then why wouldn't you raise your kids in that religious place? I think, the in-laws on both sides certainly have legitimate stance to be disappointed in that. I guess the Catholic mom had an expectation that the kids were going to be brought up devoutly Catholic. That's on letter writer for not making that clear earlier on to their mom what their religious life has begun to look like. I can speak as a Jewish person. I can speak to the concerns that the in-laws have about. I don't think that betraying the bloodline is a particularly good or appealing phrase. But it's always difficult to hear of a a Jewish family having children that aren't going to be Jewish in whatever vague definition people want to define Jewishness as. I mainly feel that way for me personally, because whole lot of Jews were murdered not terribly long ago, and not to we try to avoid talking about things that are tragic or unfortunate on the show, but this is one of the times we kind of have to. And hearing about opportunities for the population to grow and it not growing is certainly a thing that makes me feel feelings. Having said that, you have your family and you have a right to do whatever you want to do. And especially if you feel some kind of religious, I don't have a religious or spiritual connection to anything. If you have a religious or spiritual connection to this non-denominational Christian church, that's where you should go. That's important. If that's the thing that's important to you, then being in that place should be important to you. And that's how you should raise your kids. And one of the things that's important to understand as a person that has a kid, but not for a very long time, is that we all, even without kids, as an adult, you have a right to make decisions that disappoint your parents, and your parents are adults and they have a right to be disappointed. They can communicate that disappointment to you. They need to communicate that disappointment to you in a respectful and healthy way. But you adults have a right to do what they want, and adults have a right to be disappointed in other people that make choices that they think are not appropriate for them to do. As long as everyone is respectful and honest, then that's being an adult and having children and having parents. Is all of that. You get to do what you want, and you get to feel the way that you feel about other people's choices. You can't stop them from making those choices, and you can't be abusive or cruel or mean about it, but you have a right to respectfully to express disappointment in your kids when they make decisions that are disappointing to you. And as an adult, you should be able to handle that because you're an adult and you make your decisions. So this is one of those things. There's not going to be a solution, it seems like, that's equitable to these two people and their two families. That there's someone, and I suspect a lot of people are going to be disappointed. But they're regularly going to this church, and I'd imagine people don't regularly go to a church if they don't feel a real connection there. Especially a person that was raised Jewish going to a Christian church, there must be something there that really speaks to him. And so do that, embrace that if that's your journey, and raise your kids there. I don't necessarily think there's anything particularly fraught about raising your kids with the concept of their Jewish identity, but raising them in a different religious background. Judaism can be defined in a bunch of different ways. Judaism is a collection of ethnicities. It's also a religion, and it's also a culture that's separate from all of those things. And so, a person can be ethnically Jewish, they can be culturally Jewish, and not religiously Jewish. People can be religiously Jewish and not ethnically or culturally Jewish. People can be any one of those three things. They can be any combination of them. They can be all three. And so I think with that in mind, you can raise your kids being aware of what it means to be ethnically or culturally Jewish and still have them go to church. Also, an awful lot of the religious concepts in Christianity are the same concepts of Judaism. So this isn't necessarily a huge deal from my perspective. Jugsley says, just make sure you throw out any letters from the company called Birthright. Yeah, although, that might be something that is a worthwhile educational experience for people also. I didn't go on Birthright. I know lots of people do. Plenty of people come back from that very much engrossed in pro-Israel propaganda, and plenty of people come back from that having seen things that have made them really change their mind about supporting Israel in the future. So that's a very varied experience people have on those trips. I myself, for complicated reasons, never got to go. So yeah, I mean, I'm answering this by saying I don't think this necessarily is as complicated as you're making it out to be. Everyone's parents are going to be disappointed in whatever, if you're making a religious decision that seems true to you in this non-denominational Christian community that you've become a part of, that's not going to make anyone's parents happy. But they don't always get to be happy. You don't always get to be happy with everything your kids do. If you raise your kids the right way, they make their own choices. You don't have to like them, but they made those choices. So that's how it's going to be. And I think that it's going to take some effort, but you can raise your kids being knowledgeable and connected to their Jewish background and being spiritually connected to this non-denominational Christian community, I suspect. Once again, I don't really know what that means, so maybe I'm wrong. But it seems like a doable thing, as long as you're mindful and strategic about how you talk about those things to these hypothetical kids. You don't even have kids yet. This is good for you for thinking this through this early on, but you don't need to break too much of a sweat about it until there's actually kids on the way, at least. Yeah, so that's what I got on that one.
I have a response to one thing you said.
Sure.
And this is not a disagreement at all, but I feel like a lot of people confuse the idea of becoming acclimated to adulthood with surrender towards the values that you might have opposed when you were younger. And those are two very different things. To acclimate yourself to adulthood is to understand that different people are going to have different ideas, and they might even be very close to you. And to find a way to navigate how to deal with that. But that doesn't mean that you have to abandon your values.
Yeah, no, not at all. If I said anything about abandoning values,
you did not, and that's why I preface this by saying it's not a disagreement. It's just like my own recent clarification.
Yeah, I like that phrase, being acclimated to being an adult, because being an adult isn't necessarily tied to a specific age, or even necessarily like a specific collection of actions. But it's something that inevitably happens to almost everybody as you get older. And one of the things that I really personally I've really appreciated is discovering a relationship with my parents as an adult person that I never really considered. I don't think I could have considered when I was younger.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, in addition to my parents have been pretty great. In addition to really loving and caring about my parents, I also like them as people and enjoy hanging out with them. And I think I'm really fortunate in that regard.
Same here.
Yeah. So that's, for the younger folks out there, that's something to look forward to as you get older. Hopefully everyone has a good, or is able to establish a good relationship as an adult with your parents. Cool. It's 10:34. I don't want to play this game anymore. Let's give it a minute. Let's see if anything happens, because cars are coming in.
Things have already happened. Yeah, as we were talking.
Yeah, but is anything developing?
No, people are just touring.
Yeah. Let's check. So I think we can confidently say that we've got power.
Mm-hmm.
Is the industrial, if Oldman's take on this is right, and there's a massive demand for industry, and now also for residential, then we should have some growth here. But it doesn't look like there's water.
What the heck? Maybe build another water pump. One thing that I did realize in this game when I was playing it is that you need a lot more water pumps than you think you do.
Do I need a water tower too?
I don't even know what the water towers do because they've never done anything, but why not? Let's just see what happens.
And let's do another pump.
Yeah, there you go. Cover both bases.
Can I do it right here? Is that close enough to the water?
Mm-hmm. Should be. But again, like if you switch right now, you might not see it show up for another couple months or even a year.
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah. That's so frustrating. Oh, what did I just do? That's so frustrating. What am I doing wrong?
You can drag the windows, but
Yeah,
it's
really
so
like,
silly.
Let's make them think that they're using a computer. I wonder if the PlayStation had a keyboard and a mouse, because the Dreamcast did.
It did. Yeah, it did. But they're very rare.
I have a keyboard for my Dreamcast. Oh,
like a Dreamcast branded keyboard
at this game. Yeah, Dreamcast branded keyboard made by
Oh my gosh,
Sega.
Amazing.
So there's a game for the Dreamcast that I own. I've never played it before, but I bought this in the keyboard. I bought this game in the keyboard specifically. It's House of the Dead. You know, House of the Dead is usually like a light gun shooter, but this one, the zombies are marching at you to get you, and every one of them has a little word over their head. So you have to type in the word before they get to you.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
that's great,
it's called
actually.
Typing of the Dead, I think. And I've never actually played it. I'm so bad at spelling. I'm so bad at typing. But maybe we can try that. Maybe I'll find a way to make that work for next time.
That'll be a challenge.
Yeah, and I bet it'll be at least entertaining to watch me be really, really terrible at that game.
Every episode, man. Every episode. And I'm not hating on your video game skills at all. But we are always figuring it out every episode.
Sure. I think that's a really polite way of saying what I'm trying to do. I definitely would never argue that I'm good. I'm good at being persistent.
I'm not either.
Yeah. My video game skills are in persistence.
That's the same with me. And that's why I like turn-based games or like games where you can pause, such as SimCity.
Yeah. But I think, let's do that next week. I just decided we'll do Typing of the Dead.
That would be, it'll give you something to like figure out during the week. How are you going to get that keyboard and mouse to actually work with this whole system here?
Yeah, I think it should be pretty straightforward. Okay, so what are we doing here? What's going on? Oh! Wait, was it there all along and I was hiding?
It must have been. But why are there's like nobody living here in your new zones somehow?
Well, and I just built these, so maybe that needs them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, god damn it. SimCity 2000 on the...
It looks like you're doing really good. Don't say god damn it. You're actually like this town is thriving and we just didn't know it.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part is why was that button there? Why does it exist? I want to get rid of this.
You can't.
There's like little buttons, but they don't do anything.
No. Looks like it did something.
Yeah, well this is the destruction one.
There we go.
Let's zoom out if we can. There
we
go.
Can we get like a natural disaster before we sign out tonight?
Yeah,
like a tornado or something?
Let's pause. No, let's let it run. Let's read the last question of the day, and then we'll destroy this. Jugsy says Typing of the Dead rules. Yeah, I've never played it, but I really I really want to. So we'll do that. If I think I can find a way to make that work next week, and maybe I'll carve out some time to be proactive and actually promote that stream a little bit. Okay. Last question of the evening. My whole life since I was a child, I have said I had no interest in having kids. When I was dating, this is something I made clear early on. My fiance is even more anti-kids than me. I always said it wouldn't be my preference, but if it happens, then it's fine. But he said absolutely no kids. Well, time has passed and I'm growing up and settling down more. I find myself having dreams about having kids or being pregnant. I've been dealing with some mild health issues, nothing major, just new food sensitivities that I haven't exactly pinpointed yet. And I've been throwing up a lot, especially in the morning. To rule out the obvious option of morning sickness, I have taken a few pregnancy tests and I am sort of secretly hoping they're positive, despite knowing I'm on birth control. I've tried to bring it up to my fiance, and he's not receptive at all, to the point that he won't even really have a conversation at all. When I bring up, what if I want to have kids eventually, he says, we don't want kids, we don't have to worry about that. Is this a normal phase for women to go through? Is this going to pass? And if not, I don't know what to do. How can I show him that I've changed my mind?
Okay.
Okay.
I think it's normal.
I
The first thing I would say is that it's normal.
Yeah. I don't like the word normal, but I think this is really common. The person's not saying how old they are. But I think varying lots and lots of people at specific age, getting into their maybe late 20s or early 30s start to go through, kind of that a period where they think a lot about having kids. Does this period pass? Does it continue? Does it get worse? There's no way to answer that question for another person.
No, you're right about that.
Yeah.
But let's do it anyway.
Let's do it anyway. The thing that I'm concerned about, I guess, is your mind. I mean, this is one of the pieces of advice I got when I was about to get married, is people change. It's the one thing you can count on, is people change. Sometimes in little kind of predictable ways as we all get older, but sometimes in big, weird, unexpected ways people change. Whether it's a official like wedding or just generally two people being committed to staying together for a very, very long time, that type of commitment is really about agreeing to change together, or at least to support each other while you change. Because if you're going to be with someone for more than a few years, change is inevitable. You're not married yet, and it seems like you've already changed, or you are changing strong of feelings you have about a really important thing. And your fiance is 100% not there with you. So the question is, do you want to continue on with this fiance and to the point where you're getting married when you're already in two separate places? Or do you want to not continue to move forward and wait until you can find a person that is in agreement with you about this very serious and important thing? Jugsy says, I think it happens pretty often. My partner and I have always oscillate, though never in sync. So it hasn't happened, LOL. And I can say for me and my partner that I was generally no kids for a long time. I think she was always kind of ambivalent or back and forth about it. And then, something really big happened in both of our lives that changed both of our minds about it at the same time, that made us both very confident that that's the direction we wanted to go in.
Yes.
So
I don't think that's uncommon either. I think
I agree.
It'll sometimes it does get in sync like that.
Yeah. I think it's a bad idea to get into a relationship with the expectation that someone's going to change in a specific way. but it is, you know, very much something you should expect that people will change.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like marriage is weird because in one direction it's this big, heavy, meaningful thing that people expect it to be, but in the other thing, marriage is a thing that people get in and out of pretty easily all the time. So part of me wants to say don't get married if you're already in disagreement over such a fundamental thing. But part of me also wants to say, well, get married and try it out and see what happens. And if he does, you know, give him a set amount of time. And if he doesn't change, if he doesn't align with you on this, once again, very big, serious commitment in life, then maybe then move on. But you have to make those decisions for sure. But I can tell you that the desire to have a kid is a serious desire, and you can't. And I know people where one partner was no kids and the other partner was kids, and they did kid anyways, and it's not a good look. This is it's you both need to be on the same page about having kids because and it's such a cliche, but it's true. Every part of your life changes when you have a kid. There's not a way to go back to pre-kid once kid arrives. And there's certainly some parts of a person's life pre-kid that they can maintain when they have a kid. It's very hard to do, and it can't be everything. That's just how kids work. So think about it, and I think that the way you're feeling is common, and the way that he's feeling is also common. And how much do you want to invest in a relationship where you're not married yet, but you're already in two fundamentally different places about such an important thing? You got to decide that. Is it a phase that's going to pass? Is the question. I don't know the answer. No one's going to know the answer to that. I'd say most people that get this like period of baby fever, it's not something that passes. People want, get this really intense desire to have kids, and they have a kid, and then a year or two later they have the desire again and they have another kid. Kids, like we, just to go on a little bit more, my partner and I are very much set on one kid, but every once in a while we'll be around someone that has a little baby and we're like, oh, I want another little baby, I want to do that again. We're not gonna. But that desire is so strong that people sometimes have 2 or 3 kids because they just keep having that need, that desire to have a kid. And having kids is hard, and it's scary, and it's expensive. There's a million reasons to not want to have a kid. But this desire to have a kid is so strong that people override all of those other reasons. And they do it over and over and over again.
I would say put this man through the ringer. Tell him exactly how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Tell him exactly how you felt during this time when you thought that you might have a kid. That you might be pregnant. And see how he responds, but give him time. Give him some time to acclimate, again, the word acclimate, to the idea that he might be a father. There's a lot of guys out there who never had even a reason to acclimate to the idea that they might be a father. They might have never had a pregnancy scare. They might, et cetera, et cetera. And it's possible that once this guy is able to acclimate himself to that idea, that he'd be a good dad. It's possible that he'll change his mind too. He might just need some time. Yeah. But if he gets through that time and he still doesn't want a kid, then you need to break it off. Yeah.
And don't get into the relationship expecting him to change his mind. That's a really good point, Oldman, though, and I'll reiterate that. There's a thing that happens in relationships a lot where one person's like, I don't want to talk about those. And, that's fine if they don't want to talk about a specific topic in the moment. But some things you got to talk about. You can't just say, I don't want to talk about it forever. There are things you have to talk about however much you don't want to. And this is one of those things. Find a time, we talk about this on the stream a lot. Find a time where all of his base human needs have been met. He's well rested. He's had food. He hasn't had a particularly bad or stressful day at work. If there's ever a time when anyone feels like that, And you know, get them to commit to having the conversation. This is a thing we've talked about in the past. My feelings on it, I think, have changed, and I now feel really strongly that this is something that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, take your time and think about it. Has your thoughts on this changed too? If it has, that's great. We can go on this journey together. If it hasn't, then maybe we need to rethink our future plans together.
You're an excellent dad, Jeremy, and I really appreciate that you read me a story every time I go to bed.
Yeah, bedtime stories is simultaneously the most fun and most exhausting and annoying part of being a parent. Okay, let's blow up this town.
Let's blow it
Think
up.
about it again. Where
Is there a Godzilla option? That's what we really need to know.
Yeah. Well, because SimCity for the Super Nintendo has Bowser come by to destroy the town.
What? Oh, that's what we need.
This isn't Bowser. This isn't Nintendo. This is Sony. So is it Mr. Robotnik, Dr. Robotnik going to come by and destroy everything? Where's
the disasters tab?
The disasters tab. I think this
maybe
is
under
just to build fire departments and police stations.
Yeah, maybe under the destroy things tab. I don't know. Never played this.
Here. I don't think that's it.
What's the bomb? Or the wrecking ball?
I think this is just the bulldoze stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's gotta be a destroy all monsters situation here. We could have built a zoo. Wait, if this is building a fire department, then maybe this is. But it's red. I can't do it. I can't unlock it yet because it's only 19.
Maybe it's just fire. Set some stuff on fire.
Yeah, but it's not. It's disabled. There's a red frame around it.
Oh, weird. That's very strange.
It's got to be in here somewhere.
I'm looking it up, man. I'm trying to. But like I said, there's not a lot of documentation on this one.
Yeah. I'm trying to get that. Here we go. Disasters. Found it.
There we go.
Monster.
Of course. Add more if you want to. I mean,
because you have no police or firefighters, the National Guard has been deployed to your city.
That's the standard monster.
Yeah. Oh, that's no fun. I wish it was something a little more Sony, like a giant Sonic the Hedgehog or something. That's not a monster. It's a robot. It's a machine. Monsters
Can a machine be a monster? That is the real question that we need to answer next time.
Like as monster trucks are monsters.
Good point. But those are piloted by a human. Is this piloted by a human?
Are monster trucks piloted by humans? Do you know that?
I mean, yes. They share humanity, the drivers. Barely.
Amir says, maybe it's that Star of Chaos. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's the one from...
It is Chaos.
Yeah. War of the Worlds had both. That's true. They had giant robot monsters that were piloted by, if you consider Martians people, by people.
That's an excellent
so did
point.
The robot just go in the opposite? I guess our town's so tiny, maybe he missed it.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Well, you know what, everybody? I can't handle this game anymore. So there's my review of SimCity 2000 on the PlayStation. It stinks.
Get it for Windows.
Get it for Windows.
It's on archive.org.
They probably ported it over to Mac, but it's probably easier to get a Windows version to work in 2020.
Yeah, or just run it under Wine or whatever they use nowadays for Windows.
Yeah. This has been the Advice Stream. I'm your host, Jeremy International. I was joined today by my regular special guest, Oldman. Thanks for joining us, Oldman. This was a good time.
Always.
We've been live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. We will be back next week where I've decided we will be playing Typing of the Dead on the Sega Dreamcast.
It's going to be so much fun.
I will find a way to connect that to my computer, and I'm sure it'll be lots of fun when I do. If you have enjoyed the show, you can always head over to jeremyinternational.com and leave a tip, although no one ever has before, and you certainly don't need to now. And
be the first.
You could be the first. And what else was I going to say? As always, you can always go to jeremyinternational.com. Oh, wait, hold on. And use the contact form to submit a question. This particular episode of the Advice Stream has been unofficially brought to you by Haribo Gold Bears, the champagne of gummy bears. If you like gummy
Good
bears,
luck later. Good luck.
I've had like 6 of them. I'm totally fine.
Okay, you're fine.
As a reminder to everybody also that the green Haribo Gold Bears are strawberry flavored, never forget. And lastly, our 2024 catchphrase will be, "You look great, though."
You do, though. You
do. All of you look great, though. I can't see you, but I'm sure you do.
You
Thanks
do.
for joining us today. This was fun. We'll see you next week. And have a good one. Be safe and be happy, everybody. Bye.